Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 14 of our 1991 F1 series, coming to you from the Catalunya circuit near Barcelona. I am Jason White. I will be your play-by-play announcer for this event. You're looking at the previous winner in this series, David Saber in his Ferrari, and there's the chopper cam. Our drivers have just completed the qualifying session and are now in their pre-race warm-up session, where they, of course, get used to full fuel loads and the tires that they'll be using in the race. Let me run down the top 10 for you in qualifying as time expired. In pole position for tonight's Spanish Grand Prix, of course, Ray Radal with a time of 1 minute 19.435. In second, a little less than half a second back, is Jules Bouchard. In third is John Team. Fourth is David Saber. Fifth is Nicholas Kirsten. Sixth is Brian Janik. Seventh is Ruben Fernandez. Eighth, Giovanni Santarami. Ninth, Anders Nilsson. And 10th, Juha Boss. Those are the top 10 in qualifying going into this round 14, the Spanish Grand Prix. So here we are at the Catalunya circuit, a very challenging mix of medium and high-speed corners, and it's joined again by one long straight. Not all that dissimilar from the circuit we were just at, Estoril. It's a straightaway with a lot of curvy stuff behind it. So there's going to be a similar challenger for the drivers. There was at Estoril. They have a choice between either trimming out the car for straight line speed at the expense of cornering grip, or the opposite, set the wings for more cornering grip at the expense of straight line speed, which of course makes you a sitting duck in the straight, which I'm sure nobody wants. But that's kind of the 6 of one, half dozen of the other you're given. The other thing about this track, similar to Estoril, again, it has a lot of elevation change, which will make it for an interesting run. Our drivers will be going for 65 laps tonight, just over 308 kilometers. And may I remind all of you that the Drivers' Championship has been decided, so bragging rights are really all that remains for the last 3 races. This should produce a no-holds-barred competition for these races, and we're very excited to see what's going to happen. Speaking of the championship itself, let's have a look at the point standings before we go into today's race. That little cup there indicates that Ray Radal has clinched the Drivers' Championship. He has 86 points. Anders Nilsson is in second with 52. Jules Bouchard is in third with 36 points. Fourth is David Saber with 23, and then Giovanni Santarami is in fifth with 19 points. In the constructor standings, Cannon Williams' team is in the lead with 91 points. In second is Team 7-Up Jordan with 64 points. Third is Scuderia Ferrari with 36 points. Fourth is Honda, Marlboro, McLaren with 34 points, and then you have Scuderia Italia rounding out the top 5 with 32 points. So why don't we head out on the track now and see if we can get a driver's eye view before we go into the race itself. See if there's anybody here who's finishing a lap. It would be nice if Saber were finishing a lap, and it appears that he is. So let's go on board with him right now. Yes, he is. Here comes Saber off the final corner. And wow, what a view he gets of the main straight here with the grandstands and everything. Very picturesque front straight here. Now we're heading down towards the first corner, named after the Elf Oil Company, which is a right-hander. Then heading into the second turn, which is Renault. Now back to the right again. This very long turn 3, semicircular. And now a tighter third turn, or fourth turn up here, Repsol, which tightens at the beginning and then kind of unfurls at the end. Now down to the Seat corner, which is turn number 5. And now we have a kind of a kink turn 6, and turn 7 is a harder left-hander as we head uphill here. It's very evidently uphill right here. Now we head back to the right at turn 8. Turn 9 is Campsa. And then turn 10 is Nissan, and you notice how it whips back to the left very fast. Driver's taking that at a very high rate of speed. It's a fourth gear corner. Now downshifting for Lakaya, I believe it's pronounced. Heading uphill once again. Back to Sabadell. which is a right-hander. Now heading downhill dramatically through turn 13 and then turn 14, which leads you back onto the main straight. Those are two very critical corners, and you can see right there the danger in running too far wide. You can get in the kitty litter there. So let's take another run of the track here with David from the outside as he heads into the first turn. Elf. And he immediately has to go back to the left for the Renault turn. It'll be interesting to see if people can set up passes going into the Renault turn 2, by being on the outside going into turn 1. That'll be curious. But as you can see now, heading through the Repsol curve, it's tight on the entrance, but it gets more open towards the end. And now here comes the Seat curve to the left. Under the barrier here, or not barrier, the bridge, back to the left. Right for turn 7 and 8, still heading uphill. Turn 9, Kamsa, heading under the Emirates sign there. And now the very dramatic flick right and left at Nissan. Now heading down to Lakaya. 11th turn, and it unwinds also, similar to turn 4. Still heading up here, and now here comes the downhill plunge through turn 13. Got to be careful not to go over that curb, and of course David with the wrench icon there has decided to head for the pits. So the pit entry shouldn't be a troublesome one for anybody, but man, they come in there really fast. So as I mentioned, Ray Riddall has already wrapped up his championship. So the next 3 races he can run without any stress at all. He's just going to have fun. And since there's no real pressure for anybody to score points, this is going to be, whoops, as one of the low tie there gets a bit out of shape. This will be more of a series of exhibitions, and it should be fun to watch because there's no points to consider. The technical driving for that kind of stuff won't be part of the program. So we'll have a very close look at what's going on throughout the race, see if there's any change in strategy that we normally see. So we do have some sad news to report, and this news comes from the world of stock car racing. Bobby Allison, one of the greatest stock car drivers of all time, passed away yesterday at the age of 86. He was the founder of the famous Alabama Gang, a group of drivers that were based in Hueytown, Alabama, and were very, very successful. As I mentioned, he was one of the best drivers of all time. He won 85 Cup Series races, 3 Daytona 500s, and the 1983 NASCAR Cup Series Championship. He also competed in IndyCar racing, which most people don't know about, Trans Am, Can-Am, and the International Race of Champions, where he was the 1980 champion. He was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2011, and he was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers in 2023. One statistic I found yesterday looking at a video that I find really amazing about Bobby Allison. He led a record 39 consecutive Cup races. Think about that for a moment. 39 consecutive races where he led the way. I mean, that's a record that will likely never be broken, and it's a tribute to his dominance on the track back in the day. So we salute Bobby Allison, a champion, a legend, and someone who will always be remembered. Godspeed. There's Bouchard making a quick visit to the pits there. He and his teammate John Team have qualified 2nd and 3rd, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get the jump on Ray. Ray's starts are usually good, but lately I think he didn't have a very good one at in Estoril. So we'll see what happens at the start of this race if the McLarens are able to get the jump on the new champion. coming up at ISO. We've already got the broadcast links set up for these. The Fuji Television Japanese Grand Prix, the 15th out of 16 races, penultimate round, Sunday, November 24th, green light at 2000 CET. And then the final race for this series, the Foster's Australian Grand Prix, 16th round, Sunday, December 8th, green light at 2000 CET. And remember that we generally come in the air at 19 hours 45 minutes for these races. Trivia question for you to ponder for today's race. Who won the last Spanish Grand Prix to be held at Montjuic Park? Was it A, Niki Lauda, B, Jochen Mass, or was it C, Carlos Reutemann? We'll have the answer later on in the broadcast. All right, so we got 7 minutes, 45 seconds here. Let's go for a few more rides here with some people since we have the time. People that might be finishing a lap here. Whoops. Looks like Mark Whitman's running backwards there. Let's see if there's anybody else getting close to an end here. Here's Janik and his Delar. It appears that he is finishing a lap, so let's go for a ride with Janik. Coming into turn 13 and now into turn 14. Takes a measured approach off that turn. It's critical, though, that turn 14, because you want to have the most speed coming down this straight. And the quicker you exit that turn, obviously, the better you'll do. Long straight here. Rivals Mexico for length. Now into the first turn. Elf back to the left for Renault. And now this long right-hander. Leading to Repsol coming up here. And you'll notice how it's very tight at the start, but it unlimbers as you exit. Tight entry. And he's able to build speed on the exit. Now back to the left at Seat. And then you can see how this is downhill into a valley here. Underneath the Rolex Bridge. Heading up towards turn 7. Left-hander. And then a slight fade back to the right, turn 8. Turn 9. Turn 10, right, left. You can see how much on the edge the drivers are there. Now, back to the left one more time. Again, this is a tight corner going in. It's faster on the way out. Heading uphill now to turn 12. And now the downhill plunge begins from turn 12 down to 13. And turn 14. He doesn't seem very sure of himself coming out of that turn, but interesting. It seems as if, running off the... yes, Ryan, you're correct. He took part, Bobby Allison took part in the Indianapolis 500 with Team Penske on 2 occasions, I believe. The one I'm sure of is 1973. Here's Nilsson. He's about ready to start a lap. Coming off the final corner. Anders Nilsson. There aren't many updates to report to the cars. There's only actually one. And that has to do with Ferrari. For Barcelona, the Tipo 291.6 engine was introduced with a higher rev limit and more power. So the power for the Ferrari has been upgraded from 708 brake horsepower to 713. But that's still behind McLaren and Williams. The Honda engine producing 727 bhp and the Renault producing 724. So even with that upgrade, Ferrari has less power. The Ford HP engines are still holding steady at 705 horsepower. Here comes Jonathan Asserquinth in front of Nilsson here. He's going to see if he can close on him here. You can see that there's a lot of dusty grass offline here. This is Spain, so of course it's very hot and dry. And Jonathan, I don't think he was trying to get out of the way there, but rather interesting situation here. Anders slows down and just waits for things to calm down, but Downhill again. And we'll see how he does here on the exit of the last turn. Oh, he takes it right out to the curb. That's what you want to do, so you can build speed on this main straight. But look at how fast he's going versus that poor Ford DFR in the hands of Johnny Aces. Here's Rob DeVries in his Leighton house starting a lap. First turn, Elf, and then back to Renault. Now the third turn, very long. Out to Repsol. He's taking it pretty easy here. He's not pushing the car too hard, but his teammate is actually qualified pretty far up the grid. Ruben, he's seventh on the grid. He was fifth at one point in another race, and it just didn't pan out. So we'll see how Ruben Fernandez is able to do. But his teammate here seems to be just going for a leisurely ride. Oh, and we got two red cars coming in here, David Watman and Saber right behind him. There's Drexler. We got some footage of Drexler on our Instagram page practicing yesterday. He looked pretty good. He's not in the top 10, but he looked like he was in pretty decent form, so maybe we'll see him enter the top 6 before the race is over due to attrition or some other happening. Wilson again. Phil Vitasek is starting this race for Ligier Lamborghini. It looks like he's going to try a practice start here, or maybe he's just waiting for people to go by. No, he's gone back to the garage, so let's see who else is out here. There's Grant, and he is definitely practicing a start there. That was a practice start on those Pirellis for Grant Riddall. And here's Schlapinski. I think he's practicing a start, too. Anytime anyone's stopping on the track in the middle of warm-up, you can be pretty sure that they're going to practice a start. And if that was a practice start, it looked pretty slow to me, but anyway, Schlapinski's had some good runs this year, some bad luck too. We'll hopefully have a good luck situation for him this time around. There's a practice start from Jules and a practice start from Drexler, both. Oh, and while we have a few seconds here, I want to remind everybody that we are still taking donations for our server to be upgraded, or not upgraded, but re-upped for 2025. Renewed is the correct word I'm looking for. And we are a volunteer organization, and we're not for profit, so obviously all the money that we use to renew the server is accrued through donations. So if you like our series, if you like our broadcasts, if you like racing with us, if you like our former driver interviews, which are very popular, we humbly ask you to consider donating. It's easy to do. Just go to our main webpage at internationalsimracing.org, and you can click on the donate tab that's circled in red there. Give whatever you can, no matter how big or small. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you again for your support of ISO. All right, so it appears now that we are going to the race session. 65 laps on the board. There it is again, 65 laps, 308.6 kilometers in front of our drivers today. There's the siren. So we should be going to race session momentarily. So we're waiting for the drivers to go to the grid. There is Ray Riddall, and once they start rolling away, we will give you the starting grid for today's or this evening's, depending on where you are, Spanish Grand Prix. All right, so away we go on the parade lap, on the pole. Ray Riddall, Williams Renault FW14 in second, and getting his tires warmed up, Jules Bouchard, McLaren Honda. In the other McLaren Honda, starting third, John Team. Fourth, David Saber, last time the winner at the Portuguese Grand Prix, driving his Ferrari 643 with a little bit more horsepower than last time. Fifth is Nicholas Kirsten, Jordan Ford, J191. Sixth, Brian Janik, Delara Judd, D191. Seventh, Ruben Fernandez, Lake Now Silmore. Eighth, Giovanni Centorami, Tyrrell Honda. Ninth, Anders Nilsson, Jordan Ford, J191. 10th, Juha Boss, Benetton Ford, B191. 11th, Cesarius Lipinski, Minardi Ferrari. 12th, Rob DeVries, Leighton House Ilmore. 13th, David Wattman, Delara Judd. 14th, Mikael Drexler, Williams Renault. 15th, Peter Hlavich, Footwork Hart. 16th, Mark Whitman, AGS Ford. 17th, Jonathan Esserklint. That's pretty high up, actually, for a C4 Kalani Ford. 18th, Bruno Chacon, Benetton Ford. 19th, Philip Witasek, Ligier Lamborghini. 20th, Simon Wattman in the Lotus Judd. 21st, Grant Riddall. I don't know if maybe he joined qualifying late. And rounding out the field in the other Minardi Ferrari is Francisco Amaral. So that's our field, 22 cars. So those of you who have wanted to take a shot at this series but didn't have the time earlier in the year, now's your chance to grab some cars, and you'll probably be able to qualify even if you're not the fastest of drivers, because of the limit is 26. So we could have had 4 more cars in this race just showing up. So here comes Ray down to the starting grid. And unusual for this, we have him starting on the outside, even though the first turn is a right-hander. And you can see the cars doing little mini burnouts, trying to get the rear tires as sticky and warm as they possibly can. Cars pulling into their slots, and as soon as you see Ray Riddall's name flicker on the left, that will mean that we're ready for the start. And everybody's in place now. And there are starters' orders. Stand by for the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. And the race is underway. Good getaway by Ray Riddall. The McLarens split apart, trying to get an advantage, but it looks as if Ray is going to make it to the corner first with no problem, with Bouchard in second, Team in third, David Saber in fourth. Let's take a wide shot here and make sure everybody gets through okay. We don't see any problems as they head around turn number 3. Yes, it looks like everybody got through the first few turns unscathed. That is great news. So Ray Riddall leads. Bouchard's in second, just as they started, with Team in third. David Saber is in fourth. And you see the 2 Jordans there, and Juha Boss. So far, everything pretty orderly. People are calm, which is nice to see. Emerging from under the Rolex bridge, and look at that. Bouchard is already starting to attack a little bit at the back of Ray Riddall. There's that flip back and forth right there. You can see how fast that happens. And it appears that we've had a very safe start with no DNFs, which is great to see. We've had some troublesome starts recently. but not this time. Really happy to see that. Looking back from Radal's car as they come around to complete the first lap. And there it is, Ray Radal coming down. Oh my goodness, and David Saber runs off there. And it looks like we have some other people having some issues back there. Let's have a look here as they come through. Yeah, a few people going into the dirt, but nothing serious. Oh my goodness, Peter Hlavich there almost lost the car coming out of the final turn. And now Ray has built up a tiny bit of a cushion, but not much. Saber running fifth between, it looks like actually one of the, we have one of the, Anders Nilsson's in fourth, but we did have the Jordans together, but it appears one of them has fallen very far back. We'll have to take a look later to see who that was, but Saber now running in fifth. Sixth is Juha Boss, so he's had a very good start. 4 places up from the grid. Centerami 1 place up, and Shlapinski is 3 places up. There's Fernandez in ninth. Remember, he started in 7th place, so he's dropped a couple positions. 10th is Grand Radal. 11th, Janik. He's lost 5 places, so there's some. And there you go. There's the other. There's Kirsten, who's lost 8 places, so something went wrong on that first lap, but he is trying to carve his way back through the field as he's now stuck behind Mark Whitman. Riding on board with him now. Trying to find a way around Mark Whitman. Maybe he can do it at the end of this straightaway. Yeah, the big challenge, and that's going to be harder as the race goes on when the tires get worn, is are you able to come out of that last turn without hitting the curb or the gravel that's there. Into turn 1. Whitman lights up the tires. Houston looking for a way by. And he wants to get by him quickly because he's got Drexler chomping at the bit there. Maybe he'll get a chance here. He's on the outside, wrong place really to be taking him here, but it unfurls a little bit, so maybe he'll get a bit more speed. Yes, he does get around Whitman. Nice job. And now I imagine we'll see him sprint away with that HB power. Fernandez is 11th, 10th is Janik, 9th Grant Radal. As we head back up to the front here. And Ray Radal has built up a lead now of 2.5 seconds as we look back to Bouchard, who's in second. Third is John Team. Fourth, Anders Nilsson. Fifth, Saber. Sixth, Boss. So those are all pretty well stabilized. Interesting here. Fernandez, having lost 4 places, trying to gain them back, is now following Brian Janik. Here's our onboard look from the Leighton House. Fastest lap, no surprise, by Ray Radal there in his Williams Renault. Now heading down the long straight here, Fernandez pursuing Brian Janik. You can't really see him from this shot because the peak of the cockpit is there right in front of me. You can see a little bit of him now. These corners are going to be demanding on tires, so it'll be interesting to see how the Pirelli drivers fare versus the Goodyear drivers. And here is Saber in battle with Nilsson. Nilsson in 4th place. As we look back, well, this is on board now with David Saber. As he chases Anders Nilsson. Remember that David has got a little bit more horsepower than the last race. And he's actually up on horsepower compared to the HB, which is 705, so he's got more grunt. It's just a matter of can he find a way by. Ooh, I don't think he was quite prepared for the closure rate there. Heading back to the right here, they're going to be heading downhill in a minute towards the towards the straightaway and the first turn eventually. Downhill into turn number 14, heading to the right. Car's kicking up a lot of dust there. 7th gear for these Ferrari power plants, and Philip Vitasek has been in the pits and is lapped already. So Sabre started 4th, is down 1 position. He's in the 5th. It seems to be going well here. I don't believe that we saw the other Ferrari in this race, Richard Wilkes. So it's a lone Ferrari here for the Tifosi. It'll be interesting to see how things go. He's really with him now. Nielsen, okay, he's gonna, but Nielsen's got the outside kind of staked out there now. They're coming uphill again. He's got the grunt, but he just can't find a place to get alongside. Just can't do it. Right, left here. Oh, man, he lost a lot of momentum there coming out of the Nissan turn. That's a really quick flick back to the left in 4th gear. And you can see how much time there he lost to Nielsen just because he lost momentum coming out of that turn. Back to the right. And now the downhill climb, or not the climb, the plunge begins. Turn 14. And you can see he had a bit of a ragged exit there, and that's going to cost him time. You can see Nielsen sprinting away. So really it is going to come down to precision driving in this race. Who can hit their marks best for 65 laps? And you can see the stakes are very high, especially at that Nielsen, or sorry, I'm getting my N-words mixed up, at the Nissan turn. And then when you get to the last turn here, you don't want to go into the grass. It's a lot safer when you're coming through the second to last turn, but the last turn you want to nail perfectly if you want to have good speed in the straight and catch somebody. So it's pretty much status quo up front for Ray Radal. His gap is now 6 seconds. He has dominated this series and done really, really well in that Williams Renault. And this is just another day at the office for him. On the other hand, there's a lot to be proven here by both Bouchard and Team. Team has had atrocious luck at times driving for McLaren, and Bouchard has had similar incidents befall him, but he does have some wins to show for it. So this is a situation where they're going to be wanting to do the best they can to show that it is not an all Williams and Ray Radal show out here. And it's also a chance for Nielsen to show that he still has the speed, still has the drive to do well. And look at this, actually. The McLarens, looks like Team might actually overtake his teammate. Yes, he does. Team goes up to second. Oh, he tries to. No, Bouchard takes it back. That's interesting. I guess there are no team orders at McLaren today. But it looked as if for a minute there that Ray Radal was going to, that Jules Bouchard was going to give up the place to his teammate, John Team, but he didn't. Now, Sabre had a much better turn 1 and 2 than Nielsen there, and he is back to 4th place in his Ferrari, back where he started. So, if Nielsen wants to catch him, it's going to have to be in the twisty bits, because Sabre has got him in terms of speed. I think he would have overtaken him the lap before if he simply had come out of turn 14 a little bit cleaner. But that's another fun aspect about this track, is that not only are the turns very challenging, but the change in elevation makes it all the more interesting. This really fast Nissan turn here. And David does much better at oh, look at that back there. There's a problem there for Juha Boss. He runs off the track, and that's a problem that can happen. Let's take a look at a replay of that. As he comes through the Nissan turn 10, watch, right, or it's the next turn actually after this one. Here, right, left, and I think what happened was he ran up on the curb there and just lost some momentum, and there goes Giovanni Centorami past. So you don't want to get that turn wrong, because you can A, lose a lot of momentum, or B, lose a position, or both. And you can see back there, some people are still running way wide. That was Janik mowing the grass back there. Kirsten is pursuing him along with Fernandez. Oh, and here's Boss again off the track and loses another position to Schlapinski. So Juha's having a hard time settling down here in his Benetton, a car that, in terms of balance, and he goes right up the inside of Schlapinski to try to take it back. Is he going to get it done? Ślepinski is well placed for the next turn. And Boss is going around the outside, trying his darndest to get some purchase here, but I think Ślepinski might finally have him. Yes, Ślepinski has finally got the inside corner. Now Grant Riddall is looking to take advantage of the situation. Boss getting swamped here by a variety of cars. And Philip Wojtaszek is out of the race. He got a much better exit there in the Nissan curve, and now he's heading towards a very tight corner. Well placed, but he may have overcooked it. Oh, and there's contact, and Juha has gone into the gravel. He's going to try to get the car righted. That was a glancing blow, so I'm guessing the car is not damaged too much, but he wants to get going. He doesn't want the car to just sit there and overheat. He's waiting for the right opening. He's found it. Now he's got the car turned right, and he's going again. And that didn't take him too long, so hopefully the car isn't overheated as a result. Let's take another look at that. Yeah, he stopped there because he's waiting for cars to go by, which is the right thing to do. You don't want to compound the situation and do something like we see some professionals still do, entering the track after you've spun and causing an incident with someone who's coming up on the circuit. That's certainly not something you want to do. I believe that Lotus is a lap down there. So now that Saber is back to fourth place, it looks like he's starting to close on the McLarens in front. That is actually Francisco Amaral in the other Benetton. He's going to probably overtake him in a second here. There he goes. Amaral gets out of the way. You can see the two McLarens just ahead of David Saber here, so he could have a battle for the top three in a second here, because Saber's got his car, looks like it's very well set up. He's very keen to do battle with these two. And as I mentioned before, he's the only Ferrari in the race right now. Downhill into the last turn. Let's see how he takes this corner. Ooh, very nice. Doesn't clip the grass, just goes onto the curb. And he's going up to 7th gear now. Great speed, great momentum. Fantastic. Got to keep an eye on those McLarens, too, where it appears as if, Team nearly was by Bouchard and into second place. Team may think that he's indeed faster than Bouchard here. And look at this, he's pulling out again, and Bouchard cuts right across his bow and says, "No, sir, I am going to lead the way." So, and this is, of course, going to play right into the hands of Ray Riddall. Not only is he streaking away, but the more that these two fight, the more that he can get away from them in first place. But interesting tactics here being played out. Let's go on board here with Team as he follows Jules Bouchard in second place, and he's going to have a David Saber in a very blood red Ferrari bearing down on him before long, I would think. Look at how loose Team is coming out of the Nissan curve. All right, heading into the second to last turn here. Turning right. Onto the main straightaway here. John looks like he has a little bit of a roll, but man, that car looks very unstable. Here he comes. He's going to make an attempt. He's popping out. Will he get it done going into the first turn? Bouchard tries to... Wow, Bouchard slams the door. He is not going to give John Team second place. He wants to stay right up there in second. But at some point, you have to say to yourselves, wouldn't it make more sense if Team... Here he comes again. He's looking at another possibility here. But wouldn't it be... Wouldn't it be interesting if Team got back in front of Bouchard? But see what's happening here. Saber is now right with these cars again. So Saber's taking advantage of this intramural battle here. He wants to get up into third or maybe second place so he can go after Ray Riddall. Ray is already 14 seconds in front, so that gap is not getting any smaller anytime soon. So if any of these guys wants to challenge for the lead, they gotta get moving here. But the intramural battle here, or the inter-team battle with McLaren, is really holding David up. I think he would be moving a lot faster if these two weren't in front of him. 1 second here. Yep. All right. Coming down again, and it looks like David. Oh my goodness, David nearly runs into the back of John Team there. My goodness. That was a close one. We've had other instances like that, but not with Sabre. I believe it was, oh my goodness, John Team almost loses the back of the car, so he's got that thing trimmed out for straight line speed. Sabre has another look up the inside here. Is this going to work? Yes, he is right alongside finally and gets through. Sabre is up to third place, but look at this, John Team coming right back. Sabre slams the door, and Team stays in fourth place. All right, so now David Sabre finds himself in a McLaren sandwich. Can he close now on Bouchard? My guess would be yes, he can, because he made up that space to a Team very quickly. Now we're going to see what happens here once he gets to Bouchard. And again, all the while this is going on, Ray Riddle is just streaking away. His lead is now some 15 seconds. Incredible stuff. So here comes Sabre. Is he going to pop out and try to get by Bouchard at the end of this straight? He thinks about it. He's going for it. Is he going to take the position? Yes, he does. Sabre takes the position and closes the door. Brilliant. Sabre is now up to second place as they head through turn number 3. A brilliant bit of driving by Sabre there in his 643 Ferrari. The Tifosi will be going berserk in the cafes in Italy, heading towards Seat turn number 5. He made really short work of those two. That was really impressive. Now the question is, can he start to close down the gap on our leader, Ray Riddle? Another DNF of apparently Francisco Amaral in the second Benetton is out of the race. So 2 DNFs so far. 20 cars still running on the track, with 19 of them still on the lead lap. Here's that big flick back and forth. Yeah, Sabre really asserting himself here. Look, he's already pulling out a very sizable gap between himself and the McLarens. So David clearly has been doing his homework here. He's got the 643 handling very well. Heading downhill now into turn number 13 and now 14. Very critical corners because it sets up your speed on the main straightaway. Ooh, just clips the grass there. And look at this. The battle continues between the McLarens. Look at them. They're snaking back and forth. John looking for a way by. He pops out, tries to take the position away. Is he going to do it this time? Bouchard has to relinquish this time. He didn't have enough room to close the door. Team is now ahead of Bouchard up into third place, but Bouchard is not going to let this go. On board with Jules Bouchard. Great racing here in the 14th round of our series. Just because the championship is decided doesn't mean there's not something exciting to watch. So the interesting part now will be, we have a piece of somebody's car laying there. Team has a sloppy exit from Seat. Here comes Bouchard. He's going to try him on the outside. And it doesn't happen. He doesn't have enough room. But man, he almost had a chance there because Team had a slow exit from the Seat corner. Heading uphill now again. Here's that Nissan curve back and forth. Flick. They both get through unscathed. We have a yellow flag here. Somebody. It's Johnny Aces. Johnny Aces has gone off into the kitty litter. And that's too bad for him. But look at Bouchard. He's starting to drop back now. He's losing touch with Team. So Team apparently has the better setup for this race than Bouchard. Heading through the last turn again. There you see second, third, fourth. Sabre, Team, Bouchard. And then looking further back there, you can see Anders Nilsson in the Jordan, and Giovanni Santarami in the first of the Tyrols. That's your top 6. The leader, of course, by some 18 seconds almost, is Ray Riddle. Peter Hlavich is out of the race now in the footwork. That's too bad. would have been interesting to see how he would have gotten on this circuit, even though it is a bit of a power circuit, and his car certainly doesn't really have much of a power plant to speak of. Riding on board with Bouchard again, and the cars of Sabre and team are starting to get smaller. I'm sure he's frustrated, but something inherent in the setup of both cars is better than his. It's pretty evident at this point. Let's go a little further back in the field, see what's going on. Here's Ślepinski and Brian Janik running pretty close together here. And there's another fastest lap, 126.462 for Ray Riddall. Janik is in 10th place. He is looking to take Ślepinski for 9th, going up the hill here, back to the right. And there you see Nicholas Kirsten in 8th, just ahead of Ślepinski. Onto the main straight. It's interesting that the rev range of the Dallara motor seems a lot less than you would think. Ślepinski is driving last year's spec Ferrari engine into the first turn. So Ślepinski's defense obviously is in the form of that Ferrari horsepower. Although he's been able to set up that Minardi pretty well throughout the series. Although look at the rate of closure here, pretty good. Brian looking for any chance he can to get by here. I guess I'll have to do it on handling because straight line speed, it appears Ślepinski has an advantage. Back to the left. Right, heading up the hill. There's Fernandez in 11th. 12th is Drexler. 13th is Juha Boss. So I guess he's gotten settled down here, but it's cost him several places. More dust and dirt here, and it stays the same up front. Sabre has now set the fastest lap, 125.956. So Sabre is on the move, and we'll see if he starts to cut into the lead of Ray Riddall. Yes, he has. The lead is now down to 15 seconds. It was higher before, almost 16 or 17. I forget what I quoted at before, but it was not 15 seconds, but it was more. So Sabre is now starting to reel in very slowly. Now it's down to 14 seconds. Slowly but surely starting to reel in Ray Riddall. So hopefully we'll have a fight for the lead on our hands here at some point. If not through track position, then maybe what happens in the pit stop. I would anticipate one pit stop in this race. But Sabre's looking in excellent form. The McLarens are left to duke it out between themselves, although team has pretty much asserted himself in 3rd place. Yeah, everyone's calmed down to a degree. The one person to keep an eye on, though, for sure, is David Sabre, as he increases his or decreases his lap time and gets closer and closer to that leader of ours, Ray Riddall. Uh-oh! Drexler into the kitty litter. Apparently some kind of a, looks like a one-car incident here. Let's look at a replay. He simply loses the back end. Well, maybe a little too little rear wing there for Mikael Drexler. Who knows? Another fastest lap for Sabre, 125.827. So Sabre has lit a fire behind that Ferrari, and he is flying. Mikael Drexler trying to get back in the track here. Again, you want to do the right thing and let people who are racing and are on the track before you get there, you want to give them space. You don't want to run into them because of your accident. But you also want to get back going again quickly, because if you don't, your engine's going to overheat sitting there. These engines are not designed to cool themselves sitting still. They cool themselves by driving, by air moving through the car as you drive. So it's a critical thing there. Boss doing a good job of swishing through the last turn there, or sashaying, however you want to say it. Here comes Sabre again. It'll be curious to see if he sets another fastest lap. The gap is now 14 seconds. It's not decreasing at a rapid rate, but Sabre certainly has the bit between his teeth. 2 consecutive fastest laps. We'll see if he does it again. Fastest lap now from Williams Renault of Radal. He's responded 1:25.677. So he realizes that Sabre is catching. Let's see if Sabre can up the ante here. No, his last lap was 1:26.473. So it looks like Ray Radal basically said with that lap, hey, you can go as fast as you want, but I have the power to respond. So, interesting. Here's Kirsten following Grant Radal, who's in 7th. Kirsten's had a few good runs for Bennett. I'm sorry, not Benetton, with Jordan. Same engine as Benetton, but looks like he's setting up possibly to take Grant Radal here. Heading uphill. The curbs that we see here are pretty flat, but I would not want to get on the sausage curbs. There are a few of them around the track, but I definitely would not want to put my tires on. Downshifting now for a left-hander. Oh, there goes Grant swinging wide. A little bit out of shape, but Nicholas can't really do much about it. Yeah, Ray is having trouble hanging onto the car in some of these turns. This turn 13 and then 14. We'll see how good Kirsten's exit is. Good, but that Honda engine that Grant has got a little bit more grunt, I think, than the Ford HB. Turn 1. See if he gets any closer to him through these twisty bits here. He's getting closer. This is the part of the track I think where Nicholas has got a measure on Grant. Grant looks a little bit uncomfortable in some of these corners, so if Nicholas wants to get by him, this is probably the part of the track where it'll happen. Heading uphill now. Right, left. Flip. Oh, look at him how close he is now. He might have a chance here. He pulls out alongside. Is he going to get it done? Brakes a little bit later. Yes, he does. Kirsten moves up to 7th place, and it looks like he's closed the door. He's got the position, and he's actually pulling out a bit of a gap. Very well done. And Grant is going into the pits. Okay, so he's made a decision to go for tires already, and he's got Pirelli P0s on there, so this may be an indicator that the Pirelli tires are not as good as the Goodyears in this situation. There he is making the stop, so he's going to go down the order. Mark Whitman also out of the race, unfortunately, as is Rob DeVries. So Grant is going to lead the pit lane a second here. He's in 11th place. Will probably drop another position before he is fully out of the pit lane. But he's the first one to stop for tires on lap 21, or just before lap 21. And that's Boss in 12th, so Grant is going to fall to 11th place. Fernandez is up to 10th, Lipinski 9th, Janik 8th. Kirsten is 7th after that overtake, and Sentarami is 6th, the first of the Tyrrells in the points, driving Nakajima's number 3 Tyrrell. Nilsson in 5th. And that's interesting. It looks, Bouchard is actually in the same position he was in, but look at this. Nilsson is catching the back of Bouchard, so this is interesting. We'll see if he can make any inroads here. He laps the Lotus there with relative ease. heading into the first turn, and that red and white car just ahead, that is Jules Bouchard. The gap is about 2.6 seconds. Heading back to the left. Oh my goodness, a shift missed there by Anders. You don't want to do that too much, because that will definitely cost you engine life. And it looks like Bouchard is a car that he's going to have to lap here in a minute. Might help Anders, but of course, that was interesting, though. I would think it was very early for a pit stop, but again, I think it might have something to do with the Pirellis, not so much the fact that Grant was planning it that way. Heading down the straight here. There's Bouchard, having just dispensed with one of the Dallaras. Not sure who it is. Looks like David Watman. Yeah, it was David Watman, and you can see the green speck there. That is Anders Nilsson closing in. There's that's Johnny Aces, but he gets out of the way, no problem. That's the second off he's had that we know about. And team is actually not far away from Bouchard there. Here comes David Saber, and look at this, the gap between Saber and Ray Riddall is now only 11 seconds. He's cut 3 seconds out of that gap since the last time we checked. So Saber is definitely on a tear here. He's going after our leader, Ray Riddall. Team in third. Fourth is Bouchard. And fifth and closing fast is Anders Nilsson. Here we are on board with him once again. Moises is asking what's the mod for next season. We haven't made an announcement yet. We are working on confirming the series that we will be doing, and you'll be sure that we're going to be releasing that information sometime in the near future, but not yet. Still have to finish these championships, but there definitely will be a full program of races and series for next year, like we always do. Through that flick. And he is closing ever so slightly. The gap's now just 2 seconds between Anders and Jules Bouchard. Now Bouchard is definitely going to have the advantage on Nilsson in terms of horsepower. Handling-wise, I'm not so sure, because Nilsson seems to be... See, now the gap is going up to 2.5 seconds, now that they're on the straight and at full chat. But when you go through the twisty bits, I think that's where Anders has an advantage in terms of handling. I remember when I was a kid watching the Jordan team in their first year. My brother and I used to stay up really late and watch the F1 races tape delayed on CBC in Canada, because living in Detroit, we're right across the river from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and so we can watch F1 late. And the Jordans were always very impressive, an upstart team that with a very, very clean aerodynamic package, with a reliable Ford V8. Of course, all those bills came due the next year, and they were stuck with a Yamaha, and things went horribly wrong. But for 91, they looked great. They were always just positioned right to have a great finish if something happened to the front runners. And you can see it here. Nilsson's got the gap down to 2 seconds again just through this section. Now it's 1.9 for a second there. Jules' team. Let's see what the gap is now. It's gone up a little bit. It's 12.2 seconds. So Saber trying to advance here, but he's lost a little bit of ground to our leader, Ray Radal. Yeah, 12.7 seconds is the gap now between first and second. And John Team is in a very, very comfortable third place. Bouchard in fourth. Fifth is Anders Nilsson. Sixth, Giovanni Santarami. Here comes Nicholas Kirsten in. This is the second of the stops we've seen as he lifts up. Let's see. What is he going for there? It looks like C compound tires. And he is leaving the track now, being careful not to over-rev. He drops to 10th place as he exits the pit lane. That's the second of the stops we've seen. Look at this here. Well, that's probably not a... No, it's not a pass for position. That's Grant Radal lapping Johnny Aces, but Grant is in 11th. That pit stop drops Nicholas Kirsten to 10th. Fernandez is now up to 9th. That's still 2 places lower than he started. And Ślepinski is up 3 places in 8th place. Janik is 7th. And that's it. Oh, another fastest lap for Ray Radal. 125.142. My goodness, so they're already getting close to the 124 bracket. And once they change tires, that's going to go even lower, I would think. Through the flick here, Janik is in 7th. Benefiting from the pit stops that have occurred. Ślepinski in 8th. 9th is Fernandez, and 10th Kirsten after his pit stop. Here's Grant Radal, the other car that we noticed that is pitted, in 11th place. 12th is Drexler, who has just been lapped, it appears, by the leading McLaren of John Team in 2nd place. David Watman's 13th. 14th is his brother, Simon Watman, in a Lotus. And 15th is Juha Boss, who is out of the race. Just this must have just happened now. Yeah, it did, because we didn't see it happen, and it's way too far back. So something went wrong there, but it didn't seem like Juha was too comfy at the time in this car anyway, so maybe he might be glad to be out of that race. See how's it's still about the same here. 12.6, 12.5 seconds. That lap was 12.755. The best that he's done is a 125.722 in his Ferrari. Entering turn number 2 is David Saber. So everything was pretty well spread out at this point. I'm looking for a battle to cover, and there doesn't seem to be much of one at the moment. Here's Fernandez in 9th, trying to close on Ślepinski. Ślepinski and Janik is probably the closest that we can see. Although, no, I think the closest battle, really, that could be called a battle in a minute is with Nilsson and Bouchard. As Bouchard just ahead of this would be a battle for 4th place if it were to transpire. Everybody else is pretty well spread out. Heading through the left-hander. Back to the right. And he's much closer to Bouchard now than he's been. The gap is 1.5 seconds. So he's eating away at Bouchard's lead, slowly but surely. Great exit from the last turn there into the stadium. Back to the left for Bouchard and Nilsson exiting the turn. And he's getting closer. It's still 1.5 seconds, but he definitely seems quicker through the twisty bits than Bouchard is. And they're both on Goodyears. 1.5 seconds still. This is where he seems to gain a lot right here in this uphill section. And there's I think that's Simon Watman taking an evasive line on the tarmac outside the turn, just to give the drivers room, but that's a complete lap there with Anders, and he's 1.7 seconds now, 1.8. So he's reeling him in, but very, very slowly. See there's Nilsson right behind Bouchard. I'm surprised we haven't seen more pit stops at this point. Maybe some people are planning on going the whole distance. We've seen that happen quite a lot in this series, more than we would have expected to see people go an entire race without stopping. Drexler here getting a move-over flag from, it appears that's Grant Riddall, yes. Or no, it's Centorami, apologies. So Drexler's got to make room for Giovanni at some point here, even though he's driving a superior car with superior engine. Probably will do it on the straight here. That's a strong V10 in that Tyrrell, but interestingly, Drexler taking a defensive posture. There's really no need for him to do so. Oh, I see what he's doing. He was letting him by. That's what he did. All right. And here comes Watman in from 13th. This is another pit stop. This is, I believe, these guys are running Pirellis. Yes, they are. The car goes up in the air. Back down again. It's a very quick stop for Watman, actually, right there. Still in 13th place. Exiting the pits. So it didn't cost him anything in terms of track position, but I'm sure he'll appreciate the fresh rubber. So we've seen 2 Pirelli stops and 1 Goodyear stop, but it's been pretty quiet in the pits so far. Nilsson has got, actually he's lost some ground here, quite a lot to Bouchard. Something must have happened. He's now 7 seconds behind. And the next car in and out, suddenly a question of can Centorami close in on Nilsson. Yeah, things have definitely changed here. This is the Honda V10 from the previous year, 1990. So this is the engine McLaren was using the previous year. And it has found a good home here in this Harvey Postlethwaite designed Tyrrell 020. getting closer to Nilsson here. He might be able to attack at some point here. My guess is Nilsson had some sort of a... wouldn't have been enough for him to go into the pits, but might have been some sort of an off. But regardless, he's now in the position he's in. Very low rev range too for that engine. It's strange to hear that, then hear the screaming. Oh, there goes Nilsson into the pits. Okay, so Nilsson comes to a stop, and we'll see what tires he goes with. It looks like, let's see here. Can't really tell. It looks like B's. He's on B's right now. And there he goes. Still in 6th place, but there goes another car. Yeah, he's down to 7th now, unfortunately. And Ślepinski, actually, as he enters the track again, I believe Ślepinski's the next car back. Yes, Ślepinski. This is actually a battle for position now between Nilsson and Ślepinski, as Nilsson has taken on tires. So that's both Jordans have stopped for fresh rubber. And Cesarius' tires are nice and warm, so he might have a momentary edge on Anders here as he waits for his tires to come up to temperature. Even with those blankets they provide the tires, they can't be absolutely ready for battle once they go in the car. Through the right, left flick. Another car up there, but I believe that's a Dallara that's lapped. It could be David Watman. Or maybe it's Janik. Let's see. Yes, it is. It is Janik. So Janik is just ahead of these two in 6th place. It appears with this spec Ferrari engine, there is not a 7th gear. He's just hitting the rev limiter just at the end, where he hits the red light warning. He's staying right in striking distance, but he seems to have lost the edge now. Nilsson now starting to get comfy with the new tires. And Kirsten's going to be closing at some point. There's Fernandez 10th, Grant Riddall in 11th, and Grant, I'm sure, is moving a lot quicker than Fernandez is. Fernandez on the same set of tires he started on, I believe. Grant on new tires. So that Leighton house may see that black and white car get much larger in its mirrors sooner or later here. Drexler is in 12th. Watman 13th. David Watman is 13th. Simon 14th. Chacon 15th. And the last car running, I believe, is Johnny Aces. Yes. And there's the other, I believe that is Janik, who's making his stop there. That is also Pirelli tires on that Dallara. There goes Janik out of the pits. Where does that leave Janik? 11th when he emerges from the pits. Teammates just behind him, but I don't believe that's not going to be a battle for position. They think he's already a lap ahead of David Watman. And Ruben is seeing Grant start to close here a little bit. The gap is 1.8 seconds. Back to 10th place, Grant. The House of Leighton. Oh my goodness, you see that? Grant just had a real scare there. Let's take a look at a replay of this from inside his car. Watch this. Coming out of the turn. It's the next one, I think. Whoa! Oh my goodness. He had to really hang on there to correct that car. That back end was coming around. My goodness. .6 seconds now. Actually, someone else has gone in the pits at this point, and there's a car in trouble here. Cannot see who it is, but there's a yellow flag present here, and it's gone now. So whatever it was, it's gone. And look at this, Centorami right with the Jordan boys there, but the question is, no, everything's the same at the front. Ray Riddall is still in the lead by a whopping 28 seconds. Then John Team is heading up. Jules actually seems to have clawed up back some of the space he had. Sabre is the difference. So Sabre must have made his stop at some point along here, because he is now back to 4th. And we're getting another yellow flag in this section. Why? I do not know. I don't see anybody here. There's no problems, so I really don't get that. But Sabre must have made his stop for tires. Centorami now coming under attack from the Jordan team. So this should get interesting here very quickly. This is for 5th place. Back out here and look at Sabre's times. And Simon Watman is retired with an engine having blown, which is too bad. Let's see Sabre here. Where was the lap where he made his stop? Right here, 42 seconds in the first sector. So he either had an off or he made a stop. It's not clear. In any case, he's back to, well, now he's back to 3rd because John Team has just made a pit stop. There he goes. John Team has stopped for tires. So that means Sabre's back up to 3rd. I would surmise that was a tire stop that David made, and it's just accounted for because he must have run over the start-finish line before he entered his pit box. And so he got that extra time from being in the pits on the front end of the next lap. So there's Sabre continuing on. This is actually in replay here. Let's take a look. It's Jules. Jules now is very close to Ray Riddall, who has made his stop most definitely. Ray has made his stop. He's back leading now, but look at the difference. Now, all that time has been clawed back simply because Ray made his stop. Here. Yep, Ray made his stop just one lap ago. You see the 53 seconds there. That would account for that. But at this point, it's like, okay, Jules would presume has to stop too, so he's going to be giving up all this. Uh-oh, another incident here. Tires flying, and it appears it is Bruno Chacon out of the race. He's lost wheels, but there were more than two there. And there's another car involved. That is Ruben Fernandez. Two cars involved in an accident here. Let's see if we can find out what happened in the replay. We're just a little bit late here. Let's go back. Ruben Fernandez. Oh my goodness. It appears there was a miscommunication here. Run it back a little bit. Okay, here we go. We'll run it again. Ruben Fernandez following Bruno Chacon. Oh, he just ran square into his right rear and got launched off the back and goes into the tire, or into the kitty litter -1 tire. And the other tires that were rolling along now, there they go. The other one belonging to Bruno Chacon. That's really unfortunate. All right, so now we know why that happened. Drexler 11th, Janik 10th, Schlapinski 9th, Grant Radal is 8th. And look at this, there's a battle going on here with the two Jordans. We don't see them battling too often, but Kirsten possibly looking to overtake his teammate here. Yes, he is. He's coming all the way down to the pit exit. Oh my goodness, there's some contact there, but Anders forces the issue and gets by Kirsten. See if Kirsten can reply. He's looking for some racing room on the outside, but now he's going back to the inside, maybe. See if he can get that position back. No, Anders firmly has the position. Centorami just ahead of these two. Is there going to be a counterattack? Nope, not here. Eddie Jordan probably not liking this. He doesn't want to see his cars wrecked together. And there goes Bouchard into the lead. Bouchard has taken the lead from Raymondall. Let's look at a replay. This happened a little bit ago. Must have happened on the corners preceding these. That is an unusual flip of script. I would not have expected this would have happened. Hence the reason why I'm catching it now. This is why having two commentators is better than one. Somebody can catch things that the other is not looking at. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So where exactly did this take place? My guess is, based on what I'm seeing here, it probably happened on the long straight. And if it did, then that's, I guess, no, actually, let's see. It looks like they're closer here. Actually, no, it happens here. That's interesting. I wonder what precipitated this, because here they are. Oh! Ray must have made a mistake of some kind. Okay, here we go. Let's run it forward. Ray here he went a little bit wide, almost lost the car. And that gave Jules the opportunity to pounce. And he lights up the brakes and takes the position on the inside. So now we know how that happened. And just like that, here comes Radal back, trying to take the lead again. But Bouchard says, no, you cannot. So we've got a battle for the lead in our hands, finally. Obviously, that was a mistake on Ray's part. He got the car loose right about where we are right now, actually. So now it is a battle for the lead. Having both of these cars, I don't know if Jules has made a stop for tires, but here we go, up the hill again. You can see Bouchard getting out in front here, but I'm sure that Ray will be taking another stab at him here. Bouchard's got to be on new tires by this point. We just didn't see the stop. So the championship may be over, but the chance for glory is not. Bouchard trying to bring another one home in first place for McLaren as they exit the last turn. Look at the roll that Ray Radal has here. He's definitely going to be trying to take the lead going into this turn here. Here we are looking alongside. There he goes. Oh my goodness, no! Bouchard says no. No, you are not going to take me there. Excellent racing. Heading through the third turn. Ray still right with. Bouchard tries up the inside. Oh my goodness. This is good stuff. Heading downhill now. And they got one car in front of them here that they got a lap. Through the flick. Now, I'd have a really hard time thinking that he's not going to get him on the next trip down the straight. We'll see. That is David Watman just in front of him. Simon has since exited the race with a blown engine. Bouchard through. Second to last turn. Here's the last turn. He's going to get bogged down a bit, maybe by Watman here. No, not really, but here we go again. Can Ray get the lead back? They both take Watman at the same time. Oh, he doesn't want to make it 3 wide here, so Ray makes the better choice, I think, because making it 3 wide going into the first turn there, I do not think would have been a good idea. Definitely not. So you're watching the battle for the lead right now with Bouchard in front by half a second over Ray, who led most of the way until the pit stops. David Saber in third. John Team is in fourth. Fifth is Giovanni Santarami. Sixth, Anders Nilsson. Seventh, Nicholas Kirsten. Eighth, Cesare Slipinski. Ninth, Brian Janik. And the top 10 rounded out by Grant Riddall. It was a small, loose moment by Ray Riddall that allowed Bouchard to slip through into the lead. So now we're going to see if he can get it back. Ray, who's had a fantastic season, wrapped up the Drivers' Championship last time out in Portugal. So there's no championship to fight for here. It's bragging rights. And we got a fantastic matchup here between Bouchard and the McLaren Honda and the best performing duo of the year, the Williams Renault and Ray Riddall. Off of the last turn here. Bouchard takes a defensive line in the middle of the straightaway. And here comes Ray up the inside. Is he going to get it done? No, maybe. There, Bouchard is now behind. Is he going to counterattack? Does not appear he will. And look at that. There is Saber, who's caught them now as well. Saber now battling for second place with Bouchard. He's come all the way back to second, and he gets Bouchard. Bouchard tries to counterattack, but has to slam in the brakes because Saber closes his door, so we have a wholesale change at the front. Back in the lead is Ray Riddall, and David Saber is back to second, and Bouchard is third. John Team, who had the better of his teammate earlier, is now in fourth place. Fifth, Giovanni Santarami. Sixth, Anders Nilsson. Seventh, Kirsten, after the two of them sparred for a bit. Eighth is Slipinski. Ninth, Janik. 10th, Grant Riddall, who is running off the track. 11th, Mikael Drexler. 12th, David Watman. And 13th, Ruben Fernandez, who is out of the race for some strange reason. 14th, Jonathan Asserklinth, I believe, is the last car running and will pick up that 13th place eventually. Yes. And look at that now. Saber has put some distance between himself and Bouchard, so Saber is definitely the faster of the two. Now we can see if Saber can close in. He was doing so earlier in the race, closing in ever so slightly on Ray Riddall, but Ray was able to put down, it was basically a battle of who could do the fastest lap. And now look at this, Saber is right up with our champion, Ray Riddall, challenging him for the lead. This is lap number 46, so we're rapidly closing on the end of this Grand Prix. About 19 laps to go, 20 laps to go. So it's time is running out here. If Ray wants to, or if David wants to mount some kind of a challenge on Ray, but it looks like Ray it looks like David may have the faster car here. David really is quick with this Ferrari, and if he's on fresh rubber, which I assume Ray also is, there'll be a really good straight-up fight between these two. They have less fuel on board than they did when they started, so the cars will be faster and lighter and more nimble. Coming through the last corner here. Oh, he gets on the curb just a little bit. Didn't seem to cost him much, though. The gap is 1 second between first and second there. First turn once again, and there is Grant Riddall, who is going to be lapped. He is running in 10th place. Last car on the lead lap. Now this is interesting. Here's Grant. He lets his dad through on the inside. Now is he going to close the door for David? Well, no, he doesn't. He lets him go by. Good job. He didn't hold him up needlessly there. Very sportsmanlike. So that the battle can continue. But look at how much David is closing here through these twisty bits. He's definitely faster through here. Ferrari 643 performing very well. Sabre won the last time out in Portugal. And the only other race that he's won in this car was the Belgian Grand Prix that was shortened because of technical issues, and half points were awarded. So he's had only one full distance Grand Prix win so far in Portugal. He'd love to rack up another one. Heading out of the last turn. Oh, a little bit loose there. He's got to watch it. That might have cost him a tiny bit of time. No, it's still 1 second. He's definitely closing. And you can see Bouchard there is in third place. Fourth is John Team out of the picture. And then you got Centurami fifth and Nilsson sixth. That makes up the top six for points paying positions. And the gap is holding steady at a little over a second. Looking back now from Ray, it's under a second briefly there. Ray is a cool customer, though. It's going to be really hard to get under his skin. And that's what Sabre's hoping he's going to do. He's hoping that he can force Ray into making some kind of a mistake. He's already made one mental error that cost him the lead to Bouchard, but then he caught back up and took the lead. Through the last corner now. And the gap's increased now a little bit. It's about at 1.5 seconds, so it looks as if, although it's a little bit leveling out. I think power over the whole circuit, the cars are pretty well matched there, but it'll be who makes the least mistakes and who threads the needle in these corners the best, I think. .3 seconds now. Oops, sorry, wrong way. Bouchard looking like he's going to have to settle for third place, assuming things play out the way they do. And look at how much space Nilsson has pulled out. Actually, Kirsten's, I'm not sure if Kirsten's back in front. Yes, he is. Kirsten is now in 6th place. Anders down to 7th, so something happened there. Schlapinski in 8th, and Janik is 9th. So Minardi has a chance here, if there's any more attrition, to possibly get a point with Chazarias. This is, remember, a Ford HB in the green car ahead versus a Ferrari V12 in Schlapinski's car. He's carrying a lot of speed through that corner. And behind him is Janik in 9th, so high stakes racing here. rest of it, everybody's really spread out towards the back. So the hottest battle right now is between these three. But the one we want to keep a close eye on is this one, Sabre versus Ray Riddle. But the gap is starting to increase again. It's now 2 seconds. So Ray has either responded or David has slowed up a bit, or maybe a combination of both. So here's Nilsson in 7th, and this is the best battle of the course at the moment. To see if the Minardi can take Nilsson for 7th here. Coming off of the last turn. Lipinski looks like he has a tiny bit of a roll, but not enough to attack into the straight. So about 15 laps to go now at the end of this one. Seems to pull out some room here. Lipinski closer this time. Oh, excellent exit for Lipinski, and some dirt there for Anders. I don't think Lipinski has a shot this lap either, but man, he is closer. Oh my goodness, and there is, oh no! Oh man, that was pretty amazing. Let's take a look at a replay of that. That was Drexler trying to get out of the way, but I don't think he realized there were some pretty hard curbs on that section he was taking. He thought, I'm just going to get out of the way of these three here by going wide. Goes to the right. Boom! Goes right over that curb. But thankfully, he's okay and everybody else is okay. But look at this. Lipinski definitely, he was closer there than he is now in live shot, but that's interesting. I don't think Drexler was expecting that. Whoa! Lipinski is that back end of that car is very loose. He has to be careful because he's got Janik right behind him. If he has an incident of any kind, Janik will be right there to pounce. So this is very interesting here. Yeah, Janik closing in. Onto the main straight. Look at how much room they use there. They use that green patch out there too. Yeah, these two definitely. This is definitely the best battle on the circuit right now. But there you see in the background, you can see the leaders coming toward us. That is Ray Riddle and David Sabre, first and second. So eventually, those two are going to arrive at this battle between Janik, Lipinski, and Nilsson. And that's going to be a rather inconvenient thing because these three are really going at it. And then you've got the leaders, first and second, coming up. So they're going to have to make room for them somehow. That could be yeah, you can see them just outside the picture there. So looking back from, you can see there comes the first in place cars. This is Janik, who's running ninth, and he is battling with Lipinski and Nilsson up here. It's a battle for seventh place, not a points-paying position, but still, if something were to happen to someone in front, somebody would get a point. So getting close here, but see, as these three are coming through here, you can see there are the first and second place cars right behind them. There they are, Ray Riddle and David Sabre. So it's going to be very hard for these guys to make room because they're so in on their own battle and trying to catch each other, this battle here. And there are the leaders. Ray Riddle and David Saber just emerging from the last turn. The first car they'll have to deal with will be Brian Janik, and then Schlapinski, and then Nilsson. 7th, 8th, and 9th place cars. So this may set up a interesting finish here. I mean, we already have the drama of David Saber trying to catch Ray Riddle, but now they have to thread their way through people who are in the middle of their own battle. Tension might be getting a bit to these guys. Schlapinski lights up the tires, so does Janik. You can see the leaders just behind Janik here. I'm sure he's not thrilled to know that they're there, because he knows that it's going to interrupt their battle. Oof. Through the last turn, a little bit of dirt there from Schlapinski. Beautiful exit. And there's still a little bit of ways before the leaders get there, but they're closing fast. See them right there. And if there's the slightest misunderstanding, it could lead to Saber taking the lead or something else untoward happening. They're getting blue flags now officially from the server. You must move over and let the leader through. So Janik will be looking for the most opportune place to do that. Now, Schlapinski falls back. Schlapinski I don't know what happened there, but he... Oh my goodness, he almost runs into Saber. Saber has to go in the brakes. Saber runs off the track. No! Saber has lost his bid. And is that an engine that let go? His engine is smoking too. I don't know what happened there, but my goodness, I wasn't expecting that. Ray Riddle now free and clear. And the car is, we're going to run it back here and see what happened because this is incredible. They got, as I thought would happen, they got caught up in this situation. Schlapinski slowed suddenly as if he was ready to let people by. And he let, yeah, it's strange because Schlapinski slowed up to let people by, and he let Janik go by in the process, which is weird. So all these cars in front, it's the engine that let go. The engine let go finally on Saber's Ferrari. That's just too bad. All right. So what do we got now? We got the leader definitely is Ray Riddle by some 11 seconds. So there goes our battle for the lead. That's gone. Bouchard is advanced to second. Third is John Team. Fourth, Centorami. Fifth, Nicholas Kirsten. Sixth, Anders Nilsson. And because of that strange misunderstanding there, Schlapinski is now back in front of Janik, but they're way behind. Look at this now. This is a really tight battle for 7th place. It's still not a points-paying battle, but we've lost one of the front runners, so who knows? I mean, we've got a little more than 10 laps to go in the Spanish Grand Prix. Oh, no! Cesarius goes on the grass, and there goes Janik into 7th place. Replay. So I think it was just, again, it's very hard in these turns where you're trying to go as fast as you can. You push out into the grass. Very easy to do. There it was, coming out of the turn. Schlapinski just lost grip. Pushed right out into the gravel, and there goes Janik by into 7th place. Oh, Janik almost loses it on his own now. This is a live shot. And there's, oh my goodness, it appears, oh, that was Schlapinski letting Bouchard by. He was in 2nd place. But there is another car that is my goodness, that's one of the it appeared to be one of the, it was definitely one of the Jordans. There it was. Let's see what happened here. Anders spun. Well, that changes up things entirely. I mean, good grief. Anders now down to 9th. That's going to promote Janik into the top 6 and points. Let's see what happened here. Coming through the 3rd turn, and Nilsson just flat lost it on his own, spinning around here, and that lost him a bunch of places. In a very precarious spot, there is the leader running through. That was not a pass for position, but Anders, yeah, here comes Janik, and then second. Yeah, so all these cars pass him there, and there comes Grant. My goodness. So he's all the way down in 9th place now. Points picture looks like this. Janik is now in 6th. Shlapinski slid back 2 seconds. He's 2.7 seconds back now from Janik. Nicholas Kirsten is in 5th, and Centurami in 4th. So there's a close battle here for 4th place. 3rd solidly is John Team. 2nd is Bouchard, but that is 9 seconds adrift. So he is moving faster than Ray, but Ray may have just taken it off the boil. There's Bouchard in 2nd place. 3rd, John Team. Centurami in 4th, and a very hungry Nicholas Kirsten following him here. So it's not over yet. We may still see some changes here at the front. Nilsson is out of the race. DNF for Anders Nilsson after that spin. That's too bad. The question is, can Kirsten get more than just the 2 points that he's got here? Can he get 3 for that 4th place just ahead of him? Oh, look at this. He's got a great run. Is he going to do it on the inside? No. Oh, wait, there he goes. He does it. Nicholas Kirsten up to 4th place. He had huge closure there after the Nissan turn, or series of turns, and he finally gets by. My goodness. So Kirsten into 4th place. That was a very sharply well-executed pass. Let's see if he can hang on to it now as they come onto the main straight. Yeah, it looks like Kirsten's got it firmly cemented, even though it looks like a little bit of roll there from Centurami. Centurami takes a look, but there's not a chance he's going to make that pass happen. Too far back. He's closing back in again now, so who knows? This may not be over with. That was the corner right there where Kirsten mounted his challenge before. Still gets through there very, very well. Well, Bouchard still too far back to really mount a challenge to Ray Riddall, who is our leader. Been out of the lead a couple of times, but and had a bit of a loose moment on one of the curbs, but still looking just fantastic in this Williams and cementing, making sure everyone realizes he and this car are the best combination on the circuit. So I wonder how many other engines are ready to blow. First ones I would think it would be the McLaren V12s. We don't wish that upon them, of course, but Giovanni in the Honda V10 is not letting Kirsten get away Janik is in 6th and pursued now. Look at this. Ślepinski has closed that gap considerably. It's now just 0.5 of a second, 1/2 of a second. So we better keep an eye on this because Janik, there was a bit of a misunderstanding when the leaders came up to lap them. But Janik now back in front of Ślepinski, and Ślepinski looks like he's ready to attack at any moment. This is for 6th place and the last point paying position. Oh, and we've got news on the... oh, goodness, there goes Ślepinski over the curb. Lost some time there in the YouTube chat. Dave Miller, who's been doing such a great job chauffeuring us in the 96 F1 series. He says he's going to join... or 96... sorry, BTCC. He's been letting us ride shotgun in his Renault for all the races, and he is going to be joining us for F1 for the last 2 rounds, the Japanese and Australian Grand Prix. That's fantastic news. Thanks for joining us, David. Through the final turn here, and we'll see if Ślepinski is able to overtake. And he does have a bit of a roll here. He might be able to do it. No, not enough space here. Ślepinski might give him a bit of a look. Hey, here I am, but that's it. No, he doesn't even do that. But a very exciting battle here. Raywardall still in front, Bouchard in 2nd. Team is in 3rd, and it appears to be him in the background there about to lap these two. Kirsten 4th after he dispensed with Cinturami. And Janik, who you're riding with, is in 6th place. We're looking back at Ślepinski, who is 7th. And Ślepinski slows suddenly. And I believe he just did that to let Team by. My goodness, he loses a lot of time when he does that. I'm surprised he doesn't do that on a straighter stretch of road. But again, I guess it really is down to the luck of how people catch you. You can't just sit there and wait for it to be convenient for you to let someone by. When you see the blue flag, you're supposed to move over. But now he's got a lot. Okay, we got another car off the track, and it is Cinturami. Engine has blown. Cinturami out of the race from in the points, so that's going to promote more people. That means Janik is now 5th. Kirsten 4th. Janik in 5th, and Ślepinski is now in a points-paying position in 6th. So engines are starting to fall by the wayside. The question is how many more will. So Janik is now firmly in 5th place. 4th is to Nicholas Kirsten, and John Team is now 3rd again with Bouchard. And that was, I believe, David Watman getting out of the way of Nicholas Kirsten, yes. And that's not a battle for position there. Janik's just going to let Team by. Yeah, that's not a battle, so he's just going to let him go. And Ślepinski, he lost all kinds of time when he let the lead cars by, and he's probably kicking himself now, because if he had done it at a later point, he might have been battling for 5th place instead of being content with 6th. Because he's now 6 seconds behind Brian Janik, and there could have been a good battle there, but there's not going to be one now, not unless someone makes a big mistake. And everyone pretty much is running on their own here, so we're winding down the laps here. Here comes Raywardall, starting his penultimate lap, the last lap but one. And what an incredible performance by Ray. He took his stop. That we assume, we didn't see it, but then he had a bit of a mental fade when he let the car get loose. Gave Bouchard the lead for a bit and then took it back. It was unfortunate that Dave Saber had to leave the race with a blown engine, because he definitely looked like he could challenge Ray for the win. But here we are again with Raywardall out in front by 10 seconds at the end here. Doesn't seem like a lot, but he was way out in front before. There's a mile between him and second place. So yet another great performance by Ray. Second place, it appears, is going to be Jules Bouchard. Third, John Team. So they're going to finish where they started, really. Second and third. Nicholas Kirsten, a great performance in the V8 Ford-powered Irish built Jordan as he clips the grass there just for a bit. 5th, Janik taking advantage of the attrition and moving up into the points. Another great drive for the Dallara team. And then 6th is Lipinski, who is unfortunately not going to be able to challenge him. The gap is growing to 9 seconds, but and then Grant just out of the points in 7th place. And his teammate having left the race with a blown engine that we saw. Grant running off the track here. Maybe just a bit of mental fatigue at this late point. But there is the final lap started by Ray Riddall. 65 out of 65. And this just puts an exclamation point on what's been an incredible season for this driver. He's shown great maturity, and he says so himself that he's worked very hard on all the setups that he's created for this Williams Renault. It was not simply a matter of hopping in the car and winning. He did a lot of work to get the car where it was and where it is now. And it looks like he's going to take the win by some 9 seconds here when all is said and done, maybe a little less. But rounding the last series of curves there, doesn't have very far to go. And then he will be able to celebrate what I believe is his 6th win of this series. I'll have to go back and count them up, but here he is in the last uphill section he's going to take. Heading to the left, no, back to the right. He'll do the downhill sweep one more time. Heading downhill here is Ray Riddall into the last turn, onto the main straightaway, and once again, the superiority is there, both driver and car. Ray Riddall wins the Spanish Grand Prix, a fantastic drive, just terrific. And there is Jules Bouchard coming across the line to take 2nd, and there is John Team stopping immediately. He takes 3rd place. He'll be the last place in the podium. Nicholas Kirsten coming around to complete his final lap. Was much further back than the rest, but this is a great result for Kirsten, for Jordan Ford. 3 points. Another top 5 finish. Kirsten is looking like it's really an all-out battle now between Kirsten and the Volvo pair for the title in 1996 BTCC. The Total Cup's already been decided. Drexler is the champion there, but Kirsten's got one other championship to concern himself with. This one's gone, but he's got another one he could possibly win. Kirsten takes 4th place. And here comes Brian Janik. He's already crossed the line. He's in 5th. And Lipinski is 6th. Running up on Janik there, saying hello. 7th was going to be Grant Riddall, and he's already in the garage. 8th, Drexler, Michael Drexler. 9th is David Wattman. That actually, he was kind of a sleeper there. He headed up into the top 10 at the very last minute. That's a very good drive for David. Excellent. 10th was Centorami, who blew his engine. 11th, Anders Nilsson, who retired shortly after he had an incident of his own. 12th, David Saber with a blown engine. 13th, Jonathan Asserklintz. 14th is Ruben Fernandez. 15th, Simon Wattman. 16th, Bruno Chacon. 17th, Juha Boss. 18th, Mark Whitman. 19th, Rob De Vries. 20th, Peter Hlavich. 21st, Francisco Amaral. 22nd, Philippe Vitasek. And that is your final running order for this Spanish Grand Prix. So, we haven't done the trivia question yet, so we'll do that real quickly here. The trivia question is, who won the last Spanish Grand Prix to be held at Montjuic Park? Was it A, Niki Lauda, B, Jochen Mass, or C, Carlos Reutemann? And I'm going to wait a little longer here. I've got nobody in the booth with me, and I want to see people guess on the chat. Any takers? Well, I guess nobody wants to take part in the trivia, so if you're looking at this and you wonder who it was, and you said Jochen Mass, you would be correct. That was the only victory of Jochen's career, and not one that he would like to remember because it was actually a very poorly staged event, very dangerous. The barriers were not set properly, and some of the drivers did not want to do the race. They did anyway out of pressure from the local officials, and there was an accident with Stommelin that took the lives of 4 people, which is very unfortunate. And that is the reason why Montjuic Park, that was the last race held there, because it was such an unmitigated disaster. Another small bit of trivia there, I believe Lella Lombardi scored a half point. Anyway, the circuit that we're at now, the modern Barcelona circuit, is fantastic, and far more state-of-the-art than Montjuic ever was. So that is the end of our broadcast here. One more thing before we go. I'd like to remind everybody that we are renewing our server on December 1st of 2024. And we've got a full program of racing that's coming up in the new year. We're a not-for-profit league, so we require donations from our members to renew the server for each year. So if you like racing with ISO, if you like watching our broadcasts, if you like our very cool driver interviews, people go, how in the world did you get those people? We always love to spring those on you as a surprise. We're still working to find more people to interview, but if you like this stuff and you want to see more of it and you want to continue racing with us, please consider donating to help us renew our server for the following year. Easy to do. All you have to do is go to our main website, internationalsimracing.org, and then click on the donate tab, which is circled in red there, and you can donate via PayPal. Whatever you can give, no matter how big or small it is a huge, huge help, because there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. The physics for these cars are created by Richard Wilkes. Additional modeling of tracks has been done this year by Martin Lucina. Brian Janik works on the track cameras occasionally. In fact, he worked on the cameras for this track. So there's tons of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see, and we would really love it if you were able to help us renew the server. Whatever you can give, we're very appreciative of. Thanks again for supporting ISO, and I'm going to close out the broadcast now. Another great race. Ray comes home victorious. We'll see what happens in the Japanese Grand Prix in a couple weeks. This is Jason White saying so long until then. Everybody take care and be safe.